This is the summary for 2029. 2029 was a big birthday year for me, one of those birthdays ending in a zero. And honestly, the depth of struggle that I had with turning 60 surprised me. At first, I couldn't fully understand why it was affecting me so much, but after sitting with it for a while, I realized something important. That all 4 of my grandparents and even my step-grandmother, so 5, had died young, at 42, 48, 52, 56, and 58. And by the time my mum was 60, my age, she already knew she was dying from cancer. And my dad had already had a quadruple bypass. So somewhere deep inside me, I think I had developed an unspoken belief that life sort of stopped around 60, like there was an invisible ceiling there, and suddenly I had crossed it. And now I had outlived almost all of them, and that felt sobering. So throughout parts of 2019, especially around September, my birthday month, my mortality felt really loud. And to be honest, I dreaded my birthday, especially the idea of people celebrating me. That probably highlights some issues, which is ironic because the birthday itself ended up becoming one of the most special moments of my life. 5 very dear friends took me out for an all-you-can-eat birthday breakfast, and just let me say, we absolutely honoured the buffet with great commitment and integrity. And we were there for 3 hours. And I'm pretty sure the restaurant lost money on us that day. But somewhere between all the laughter and the food and the conversation, something shifted in me. And at the end of breakfast, those women shared words over me, kind words, life-giving words. And I've gone back and reread those words many times since, because when words come from people's hearts that genuinely love you, they stay with you. And strangely enough, instead of fearing this next decade that I was going into, my 60s, I found myself become excited about it. Excited about who God was shaping me to become. And because I was slowly learning that influence comes from simply being who God created me to be. And over the last few years, I've started asking God for a word each year. Last year, the word was overflow. This year, the word was just as clear. It's presence. And I realized pretty quickly that presence is deeply connected to having roots in God. And because of my personality, I naturally approached this whole thing like a research project. And I started doing word studies in the Greek and cross-references and lists. And I discovered all the benefits connecting to God's presence, which was things like joy and strength and guidance and safety and encouragement and power. And honestly, I was building a pretty impressive bullet point list. And then one morning, I was out on an early bike ride. And I should clarify, when I say early morning bike ride, I mainly say that to make myself sound healthy and disciplined. But anyway, during that bike ride, I felt God speak to me very clearly. So the way you are analysing my presence in your life is reducing it to a return on investment. Ouch. And with a healthy amount of horror, and no surprise, I realised God was absolutely right. He was showing me that I had unintentionally turned intimacy with God into a transaction. Like, if I pursue God's presence, what exactly do I get out of it? And then I felt God begin to ask me some deeper questions. Sue, if my presence makes you sad instead of joyful, will you still choose me? If my presence makes you feel weak instead of strong, will you still stay? If you feel vulnerable instead of safe, will you still trust me? If your path ahead feels a little bit unclear or cloudy, will you still walk with me, or will you choose certainty without me? And those questions went deep, because the easy answer is, of course, Lord, yes, I'll choose you. But the real answer gets lived out every day in ordinary choices, in hidden moments, in seasons and chapters where shortcuts look very attractive. And I wonder if that's what 2020 will be like for me, a year of digging for treasure in God's word, but also uncovering things buried deep inside me for many years. And I know that some of that growth will be painful, but I'm ready for it. Because I want to live with my roots in God, not my straws into people. I want to draw my sustenance and my life from God, not have my straws into other people and be sucking their opinions, their ideas out of them to adopt for myself. I want to be rooted and grounded in God and not have my straws in people. Let's see how that goes. Watch this space.